and welcome to another Anime Kingdom manga review. See by the title below, yes, this is on chapter 241 of Shokugeki no Soma, and this is of course the start of the battle between Soma and Saito. And before I get on to talking about everything that happened in this chapter, one of my favorite parts that I've talked about before that we've gotten to see in Shokugeki no Soma is, yes, it's always awesome to see the cooking. It's always awesome to see the crazy methods they, implement into their cooking and just how over the top certain things are. But it's always cool when we see like a representation of a certain character. For example, Saito is like a swordsman, and we get to see that him and Soma going at it, and they're pretty much like two samurais about to attack each other. Obviously, it also helps in comparison to, other ones. They don't really talk in that same way, but as we've seen with Saito, he even talks like exactly how someone would be like, if you're not going to draw steel first, I will be the one to, draw my steel first, and you're going to taste my steel, kind of thing like that. And I don't know why, but it's pretty damn epic when you actually think about it. Like if I was looking at this scene and I just saw them all of a sudden with a sword and like outfits are ready to attack each other. It's literally why, one of the reasons why Shokugeki no Soma is like, a full-on shonen anime, because it's not like, sure, the cooking is the huge aspect of it, but it's how the style and everything is, how it's an epic pretty much battle between two people. It's not just cooking to them, it's literally like we're having a sword fight happening right now. And obviously, as you saw in this one, Saito was the one who drew steel first, and of course that doesn't always mean you're gonna win, especially considering the fact that in this chapter there was no stripping foodgasms. Now, obviously, we've seen more than once already now that doesn't necessarily mean, that person is going to win. If that was how it was going to be, then Megumi would have won in the last battle. But instead, that didn't happen. So, we can't just say by the aspect of, oh, there was no nude foodgasms, now we know who's going to win, because obviously that doesn't always work anymore, But overall, this chapter was an interesting one in comparison to the other ones. Yes, sure, it's been going on the same way other ones went, where you get some, pretty much a blast of the past, kind of flashback kind of thing go on of the character, and we get to see what happened to them and everything when they were younger, and kind of show their reasons for why they want to be, why they want to win this battle and everything. But the weird thing is, and kind of interesting fact in this one is, that Saito is a completely different character from all the other ones. His backstory is weird in the fact that he's actually just like Soma. He starts off working under his mom, his parent, and everything. She has her own restaurant, sushi restaurant. He wants to be just like her. He trains super hard, and that's of course why he goes to Totsuki later on. And we get to see a lot of aspects that really relate to him and Soma being very similar in a lot of different ways. And that's where, of course, that I've seen in the forums as well, I looked on, that there's a lot of different kind of back and forth between certain people. Some people say, they believe that, why is Saito in Central? Because his ideals don't match with Central, being the fact that, and I kind of agree. I'm still on the fence, but I more or less agree with the fact that I feel that it's weird that he is with Central, because his ideals, he wants to protect his mother's restaurant and everything. He wants to be, from how we saw his past and how he grew is exactly like Soma. It's really strange on why he would end up being with Central. Central wants to destroy every one of these different restaurants that don't follow this certain ideal. So that would include his mother's restaurant. It's not the same. So they would take her restaurant down. They would not let her be a cook, which is something that obviously, you can't see that happening for Saito, because you saw how mad he was and how he wanted to, show everyone that they're wrong and help his mother out and, keep their restaurant alive when he defeated all of the best sushi makers around Japan. And it's like, why would you do that? But then again, you have these other people who've been saying in the forums that, it makes sense that he's actually in Central, because his ideal, in Central's ideal, their way, of what they want is that every single other way is wrong. And we did get to see Saito in this show off fighting all the other sushi makers and showing that his way of cooking sushi is correct, while the rest of them kept saying like, oh, you think you can beat us, this is how you're supposed to do it. And all of a sudden, Saito comes in doing something different, and it's just like how Soma is revolutionizing and changing up the way cooking is seen. And that's why, I say no to that, but also why you can say yes, because yes, if the way goes with Centro, they'll be taking out every other way. And this way, it may be because Saito, his way of cooking, his way of sushi making will be the way that Centro does their cooking, and every single other one will be shut down. And that, of course, will mean that Saito's restaurant, his mother's restaurant, will still be there, and why, of course, it would make sense that he's in Centro. But I have a feeling that's not what it's going to be, because his character overall is a whole nother beast. Honestly, he's a very respectful kind of person. When we've seen him win, he's not just like bragging or anything. If we see him lose, he's probably going to be like, oh, next time I would love to go up against you again. It was a very honorable and amazing kind of battle. And that's how I kind of see Saito's character and everything. And that's why I kind of think that the way this is it might be the same way that Hayama had his, where it was pretty much threatened that they would take that research club down, but instead maybe Central is threatening to take down Saito's mother's restaurant down, and if he doesn't help, they'll take it away, but if he does help, it's allowed to stay. That's what I'm thinking it's gonna be. I could be completely wrong, but yeah, that's just how I see it happening. I can't see it the other way, with him being just wanting to take out all the other restaurants, and that's why he's being with Central, because that just, honestly, from what we've seen with his backstory, that just does not follow, in my opinion, what he wants to do and everything. And that would pretty much destroy the way his mother's way of thinking is, and obviously he doesn't want to do that. He wants to follow in his mother's way and make his restaurant, that restaurant survive and pretty much do really well. And if that's the way he wants, that's what his wish is, it's not going to be with Central. So I'm thinking that Central is probably having like a Hayama kind of thing, and they're threatening to take down this restaurant. So the only way for him to stay, for the restaurant to survive, for his mother to survive, is for Saito to stick with Central. And that is, of course, why he ended up doing it, because either way, I think even with the amount of people, if he said no, the Elite 10 would still have majority vote, and Azami would still be they would still have made Central and he would have been the headmaster of the school, which is why Saito ends up joining and staying with Central, because he wants to protect his restaurant. So that's what I think. Of course, this is my opinion, my prediction of what's going to happen. It could be wrong for all we know. I may be totally wrong, and it may be that he really does follow the ideals of Central, and that is why he's working with Central. But honestly, after seeing this backstory and seeing, that's one of the things I liked about this chapter, that it was different in the fact that his backstory does not make sense in that way. I think it's gonna go in that certain way. That's my prediction. But yeah, pretty much that was the whole chapter. Of course, we did get that little ending with someone like, oh, I might be in trouble, and I'm over here like, yeah, right. No, you're not in trouble. Like I said before, guys, I do not see someone losing this battle. Sure, we've seen him lose before. I'm not saying he's invincible and everything. Yes, he's the main character, but we've seen him lose before. But I don't think it's going to happen this one. I cannot see a way that Soma will not be in the finale. So obviously, this one probably is going to be super close, and I love the way that they are very similar to each other. So we're going to have some crazy, that's why it's going to be so close, because it's so similar in so many ways, and not just, the way they were brought up, but their dishes will probably be very similar and strong in those certain aspects. But overall, I think the edge, of course, will go with Soma, as he's the main character, and in my opinion, at least, the ending will be with Soma and Erina in some type of way, whether it's both of them winning together or Soma supporting her in some way. And of course, that means that he will have to go on to the next round. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Anime Kingdom manga review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy, don't feel like, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And as always, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts as well. Feel free to comment below what you think is going to happen, your predictions, what you thought of Saito's backstory and everything. Do you think the same as me? Do you think differently? Feel free to comment below whatever you guys want. It's always awesome to hear your guys' thoughts as well. And until next time, guys, see ya.